You're listening to The Morning Show with Dave Hyde on 99.2 Hermitage FM, online and on your smart speaker.
And I've got someone on the telephone that is absolutely amazing, and the single is one of those that I can quite happily say is probably one of my favourites of the year. I've got Stephen Lindsay on the phone from Interlopers. Stephen, how are you?
I'm good, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I've got to be honest, you've released a couple of singles this last 12 months that I've absolutely loved, and Rainbow's End, which is your current one off the album Interlopers, is absolutely stunning, and I think it needs to be picked up on something like Cobra Kai, because it just takes me right back to the 80s sounds, sort of, do you know the stuff from the films that you just, integral, made the 80s, 90s?
I do actually, I do, because it's got that kind of feel to it as well, hasn't it?
It has.
So that's, but that's great, yeah.
It grips you. How did you come about with Interlopers? Because I believe there's a story behind this.
Interlopers, the name was, I started recording I'd recorded solo albums in the noughties, I suppose. And I kind of started recording it. It's going to be exactly that, another solo album. But I had been, it seemed more like a project, the way that thing was being recorded. And I'm a painter as well, and I had a painting called Interloper that was, it's what I collected in New York. And the name I just always liked the name, so I decided to give it a bit of edge, to call this project Interlopers. So the band's called Interlopers, the album's called Interlopers, and the songs kind of are a wee bit about dipping your feet in and out of life and different art sort of genres and stuff like that. And oddly enough, Rainbow's End was, I mean, a lot of the songs are kind of going back to a more traditional way of songwriting, and even the way we recorded it very organically to try and, think about somebody playing it on vinyl, as an LP. So yeah, I'm glad you picked up on that.
It does. It has this feel. I say it needs to be on a soundtrack. Rainbow's End just instantly took me back to. And it sounds daft. Ironically, Top Gun Maverick's just come out.
Not at all. Yeah,
it took me back to that sort of film going, do you know what? It's like, it's got the highway to the danger zone sort of feel where it needs to be sat in a film, and it's a pivotal song. It's fantastic. And the album itself as well, absolutely love every single one of the tracks that are on there. All 11 tracks have something about them.
Well, that's great. I'm glad of that. It's nice to know.
And you've been a full-time painter since 2011, I believe?
Yeah, something like that. I've been a full-time painter, but I've never stopped. Like, I've always been doing collaborations and recording bits and pieces here and there. I've collaborated with Lloyd Cole and Greg Armstrong, and this is the first sort of album I've had out since 2007. Because I've been quite busy as a painter, which has allowed me to travel around the world a bit.
Well, it seems like you've not just been busy as a painter. You've had over 50 songs. You've written and performed over 50 songs throughout sort of the last few years.
Yeah.
Is there any that's sort of taken you and gone, do you know what, that's completely different and that's different, or are they all different in your song history?
There was most of them. I mean, I was looking back. I had about 50 songs to choose from this album, but I felt as if because it came about during the lockdown, that's when we started recording it. And you can't help be affected by what was going on in the world, to all at that time. So there was a song that I kind of wrote during that called Nothing Will Ever Be the Same Again. It was on the album, which I think reflects what was happening at the time and what we're still kind of recovering from. So that one, I think, is probably one I would pick out as being kind of meaning quite a lot to me.
And do you find sort of when you write stuff, you go into a zone, or do you is there a certain thing you have to do? Like, I don't know, because you paint, do you tend to find that you paint and then all of a sudden you can go and do music, or is it completely separate?
It's kind of interlinked, I managed to seem to go between both, and I think it seems to help me as well. I think maybe they're quite related, so sometimes I've been painting and then I go back in the studio to write something. I usually, for some reason, I've got like fresh ideas, which have maybe came from an idea I had for a painting. So I think one informs the other, which is kind of lucky for me.
Because you've had EPs out over the years since, I think, going, and you're also part of the big dish as well beforehand.
Yeah.
Have you found your style changed throughout them different projects and different things you've done?
I think it has. I think that's been a conscious effort to do that. I think you have to keep evolving and keep trying to do things that are new to you to keep it interesting. So the Big Dish were very much more a guitar band, and then my two solo albums were more kind of piano led. The Interlopers thing, this new album, is kind of a bit of both, and going back to being quite an organic sounding record, and more I've probably been focusing on singing more on this album than I ever done before.
And have you found your sort of your voice in the Interlopers? Because it suits your voice. Just everything about it is magical.
Well, that's nice to see that. But I think so. Yeah, maybe as you get older, you grow into your clothes a wee bit more, and you learn a bit more about yourself. So I think there's a confidence in it as well in the Interlopers album. Maybe I haven't had as much of that before. So it feels good.
And also you've got I think it's a 5-piece band when I watched the video.
Yes, well, it's 4 of us. But we sound like a 5-piece. We sound big. We make it racket.
You do, and the video's amazing, by the way. Was it weird to sit there and have multiple camera shots pointing on you, just doing these songs?
Yeah, I mean, it always is, isn't it? I mean, I've never been that comfortable with, being on camera and stuff like that, but it's just something that you have to do and try and, hope that it reflects the song properly. And I think the videos that we've made so far kind of suit the band, and suit the project. We're all not all that young anymore, and we're not, take that. They're not even year old now, aren't they? So.
And the thing is, though, you're supporting people like Deacon Blue at the moment with a couple of arena tours. How's that been as well, to go back out on tour after lockdown?
It's actually been fine, I think, we were playing to like 12,000 in Glasgow a couple of weeks ago, which I hadn't done for about 10 years or something like that. But I think it was a bit of a celebration for everybody being able to go out again, and see live music. So, and you felt as if everybody was along there, everybody was with you, everybody wanted to enjoy it. So it was a great experience.
It does seem that way as well when you speak to artists like yourself. When you go back on stage, it feels like people are actually more appreciative to have you on stage, to have you performing, singing them songs. And it seems like everyone's enjoying themselves massively. Have you got any plans for touring for the rest of the year?
We're just looking at some dates just now. So we've just confirmed one in Glasgow in September, I think, and probably the beginning of next year, and maybe even later on this year we'll be going more, coming down south, your neck of the woods in London and stuff like that. So we're planning to get out there. And
have you got plans as well? Obviously, after the back of this album, you're going to be touring this album. Are you still writing with the project in mind, or is there other stuff going on?
Well, I've started writing the next Interlopers record, but in the meantime, the album's just out, so we're fully concentrating on this and getting out there and doing some gigs and getting on the radio, guys like yourself and all that. So it's been exciting. Because
along with this, you're not only the writer, you're also one of the producers. You're marked down as one of the producers on there. What do you take into the studio? Because I get interested in writers and producers, because I think you take in an idea of a song, you record it, and it becomes its own beast at the end when you start producing off the back end of it. Yeah. Is there anybody else who co-produced with you that you sat there and went, actually, this is the feel we need to go with, and then it was handed to them and back to you to finish off, or was it you from the start?
I think, I'm pretty hands-on, to be honest. What I do is when I start writing a song, I more or less start recording it right away. The production process almost starts right away. So more or less, I'll program everything. I'll put guitars down, I'll program drums, I'll play all the keyboards and pianos and stuff. And then we'll take it into the bigger studio. So the songs really, and then the drummer will come in and you'll put live drums on it, put live bass on it. And as you go along, you just sort of tweak it, and you think, well, maybe it needs a bit of this.
Also, make sure the drummer misses a beat and you still got one of your sample drums in. That means you get credited. And more PRS comes your way, Stephen.
Absolutely. I just tell them we never use these drums.
That's it. Look, there's 2 bars there you didn't use. That's my drums. You can use it in a live set.
Yeah, I should have thought of that.
And do you find yourself sort of telling these stories when you go on stage? Is there a ritual for you to go through before you can go on stage and tell these stories in the songs? Because there are some stories within these songs, and there's some ones that make you think.
When we're on stage, I don't really say all that much. I don't think I'm much of like a storyteller on stage. I try and just I'll put it in the songs, and maybe it's nice sometimes just to see how people interpret what you're saying anyway, rather than maybe ramming it down their throats and saying, no, this is what this is about. So it's interesting just to hear how people, what ideas that they get as well from the songs.
It is. I think music's one of those things, it's like art, isn't it? You have your own view on something that you hear, and to take your own interpretations. But as I said, the thing comes alive when you start listening to the songs on there. Say, I've gone through all 11 tracks that are on there, and I absolutely love it. And I say, with Rainbow's End, it was one of those that when I heard it, I was just like, you know, this needs to be, and I said before, it needs to be in the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans for, obviously, when you go on tour, do you change up the songs slightly, or is it going to be, you know, uplifted from the album?
No, we'll probably, you know, you kind of, sometimes you tweak them, make them a wee bit longer, and depending on the, you know, with the order of the set and stuff like that, we'll maybe have, you know, maybe create some instrumental sections and stuff like that. So yeah, it's nice to play around with it a wee bit, to make it, kind of keep it interesting for yourself as well. As long as you don't, you know, vary too much from, you know, the basis of something like Rainbow's End, people will just want to hear that probably as it is, you know, so a bit of both.
And with the album artwork as well, please tell me that was your idea to have. Is that you in the photo, or is that somebody else? Or
that's me, I'm afraid.
And then was it slapping? Now, this is something, was this done afterwards? So you in the suit, and then all the other bits added, or did you do that to the suit and then have the photo taken?
I did it. I put the suit on and had the paint thrown all over me.
Oh, how messy was that?
Well, you've got to suffer for your art, haven't you?
Well, definitely. I've got to be honest, because you've got what I would class as the Joker face going on with the white and the red, and it just seemed, if they hit you, whoever hit you there, I hope they got the sack afterwards, because that got to hurt. They were throwing paint.
Yeah, but no, it was good fun to shoot that. It kind of worked out the way we wanted, and it looks quite strange, but hopefully it looks quite funny as well, you know, because there's some humour on the record as well. So I think you'd like to just think it gets people's imagination going, you know, and you think, well, I'm interested in this, I wonder what this is. And the Interlopers thing is all about that. It's about seeing something and going up and then investigate, maybe hearing songs and stuff.
And is this a long-term project? Is this a long-term project for yourself?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I'd love to, you know, do another couple of albums. I'm quite patient, you know. I don't feel as if we need to go out there right away and do gigs. You know, we'll pick the right things to do. But yeah, I'm here for the long run.
That's good to know, because I've got to be honest, as I said, I can't get enough of the music, which is always good fun. And do you find when you're doing the artwork and then sort of going into the studio to do this sort of thing, do you sometimes sit there and think, do you know what, that's my album artwork cover, I'm taking that is this song, that's it? Or do you have to separate it? Because obviously you've been a full-time artist since 2011.
Yeah. I think it gets intertwined, you know. I mean, whether you notice it, maybe I don't notice it sometimes, but people have said I can see the similarities in you know, your music and your painting and stuff like that. Maybe the use of space and some of the titles that I've come up with could be the title of a song or a painting, you know, which is where Interlopers came from. So yeah, I think it's intertwined sometimes unconsciously, you know. So it goes hand. And
have you got any ideas for your set design on things? Because obviously you've got to like your colours. You've got to know, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite a visual thing, isn't it? You know, I mean, we'll probably play quite a sort of stripped down set, but I mean, we have the Interlopers one where we have the Interlopers logo behind us, and we'll have a think about some ideas for the next couple of shows to make them maybe even, I mean, if you've seen in the videos, we've got some film in the background and stuff like that, so yeah, it'll be interesting.
It sounds like it's going to be a great set to go and watch as well, I've got to be honest, and I can't wait for you to come south of the border, let's be honest.
Absolutely, yeah, we'll be there.
And when you got, is this your label by any chance? Because I was looking at things, and obviously with the stuff with Big Dish, and then obviously your own EPs that you've had over the years, you've had a fair few.
Yeah, well, this is on the Chrysalis label, who are obviously a major label, and it's through Second Swimmer is kind of our wing of the label. So it's been good to get some, like a company like Chrysalis are good to be involved, you know, because they can, you know, they're good to kind of, you're making the record, you know, they get involved, and then when it comes to, you know, the promotional stuff and the physicality of actually making vinyl LPs and CDs and such. So yeah, it's in a good home, I think.
And have you had problems like everybody else with getting your vinyl sorted yet?
I know that they did it first, yeah, because I think at first it was like, you know, I had some bands and I had to wait like 6 months, you know, to get the vinyl. I think it's shortened a wee bit at the moment. They're able to get vinyl a wee bit quicker, but I know for a fact that our vinyl is supposed to be arriving last week, and I think it's now arriving this week, so it's not been too bad.
So it's going to be nice to get your hands on that vinyl. Have you got anything special on the inside covers, the sleeves?
Yeah, there's a couple of pictures. Some more pictures of the paint, and there's one of the bands. and it's other than that, it's just the information, the songs, and some of the credits.
Is it nice to do that again now? Because obviously it's always been, we went from CDs and cassettes to digital and online, where you didn't really get them inside booklets. Where with vinyls, it's awesome.
It's great. I know it's great to be able to do that again. I mean, the last time I was around, 2007, I suppose, when we put an album out, it didn't come out in vinyl. I mean, it came out on CD, obviously. But it's good that there's a bit of a resurgence, So I mean, I've seen one of the vinyls and I've held it and all that. It's just great. It's nice to have something tangible, and then you put the record on, and it's a nice warm kind of sound. So I hope it continues. I hope the vinyl continues to make a comeback. It's all good.
And I take it, obviously, the song, well, we know the songs themselves. And again, I always say, put a good pair of headphones on and listen to good music, because you get to hear the levels, you get to hear the smallest of pins drop in the back.
Yeah.
This is going to be special on vinyl.
Yeah, it sounds great. I mean, when we were recording it, we were thinking of, listening to it on a really good hi-fi and having that kind of communal listening experience where, listening to it, not on your own, necessarily, where it used to be, but you always listen to music in a room with other people, whereas now it's an isolated thing, isn't it? You've got headphones on, which is great as well, because you can, as you say, you can really hear the pin drop and stuff like that. But so hopefully this will, I know it sounds great on vinyl, so I hope it can make people think a wee bit more about how they used to listen to music and enjoy it.
Well, you said about the old hi-fis. I found my mum's old hi-fi, my dad's old hi-fi. It was put in boxes and put in a loft.
Yeah.
Doesn't have the case anymore, but vinyl sounds special on it. It's great. I always remember having to pull the speakers out of the cabinet, the one like swivelly bits.
You're thinking of those, I think, called the radiogram years ago, that's how that used to be. There was you opened up the doors. But yeah, it's nice to have hear music on it. I mean, it's nice to hear music on it, but I like listening to people say the speakers.
Oh, you've got to, do you know what? Blasting music out's always a good thing. No matter what anyone says, because like you said, sharing it with someone, and also seeing when you introduce people to new music, like with this, you introduce your friends to it, and you hear this sound coming out, and you're like, oh, well, what's this? Then it causes conversation.
Yeah, I think so. I think so, and there's something about that kind of shared experience thing as well. Rather than you're not all just sitting with headphones on. It causes you maybe to react with each other as well. And I think that. Yeah, I think you're right. It can only be good.
Yeah, and I've got to be honest, I say we absolutely love it. So the new album, Interlopers, from Interlopers, it is out now. Everyone can go and download it. They can go and purchase it from your website.
Yeah, it's on Spotify, Amazon, Apple Music, all the usual platforms. I think the vinyl, as I said, there was a delay of a week, so I think that's all going to be available from this Friday. So
either way, you're going to wait for good music.
Yeah.
Have you started signing any yet at all? Or
there are the signed postcards, I think, that are going to go out with the vinyl LPs. So I think there's a limited edition, about 100 or something like that. So, yeah.
Sore wrist afterwards.
Absolutely. Worth it.
Definitely. And are you finding as well in like coming forward with this project as well, getting the social media aspect of it, as well as the music and all that sort of stuff, is it all coming together nicely? Is that package for you?
It is. I mean, fortunately, there's my management company and the record company are doing all of that, because I'm a wee bit out of touch when it comes to, being a wee bit older. I don't really, I don't know how the mechanics of it and all that, but I'm getting there. I mean, I'm beginning to, I know a lot of the social medias and roughly how they work, but fortunately there's people that know what they're doing who are doing all this for me, so it's great.
Do you know what? It's nice. It means you get to concentrate on the music, and that is it.
Exactly.
Do you know what? I think I might start using that excuse, Stephen. Get everyone else to sort my social medias out. I can't be bothered with it.
Listen. No, you're young. You can do it.
Well, do you want to play a little bit of a game? I do these with everybody who come on the show, and the first two are a bit long-winded, but I promise you they're quite interesting. And then the others are just quick if and that's.
Okay.
So if you could play one song until whenever, what one song would it be?
The G&G by David Bowie.
Great track.
Yeah, brilliant.
I will write that one down and we'll play that after your track at the end. Oh. We like that track. If you could release this album, and again, I know we've already spoke about it because we said it was designed for vinyl, but if it could only be released in one format, which format would it be?
I would have to say vinyl.
Yeah. We covered it. We know. Did you know that cassettes are coming back?
Do you know I did? And at one point there was talk of this album coming out in cassette, and I thought that's strange because I always remember cassette wasn't the best sounding format, but I kind of like the look of it. I like the idea of it, but whether it'll ever make a full comeback, I'm not sure.
I don't know. Someone was telling me that the mini disc, you can now buy mini disc players again.
Yeah, that as well.
I can't believe it.
The world's going mad.
And how's this for you, right? Remember Sony started selling them cassette players, and then as they started to fade out in about 2005, you could buy them from Argos for £5. You can't buy them now for less than 30.
It's gone mad.
They have. They're ripping us off. Anyway, on to the big questions of the day. Now we're just going to get to know you with these ones, so you can sit back and relax.
Okay.
Would you prefer mashed potatoes or baked potatoes?
Definitely baked.
A gas stove or an electric stove?
Gas.
Mismatched socks or matching socks?
Oh, it's got to be matching.
In the studio, staples or paper clips?
Paper clips.
And the big question of the year, one that you're going to ask everybody for the next week, I promise. Is cereal a soup?
I would say it isn't. No, I would say it's not a soup.
Why?
It's too crispy.
It's a great question to ask. I like the answer.
That's all I can think of.
It's too crispy. I like it. Some people said you have to do a stew over a long time because it develops the flavour, and we're like, well, thing is, Cocoa Pops do the same thing.
That's interesting. That's a good point. I'll have to think about that one.
It's a good one, isn't it? If an animal could talk, which one would be the rudest?
I've got to be a dog.
How would they sound?
Very rough. Rough, if you hear what I mean.
Oh, we love these questions. For some strange reason, they've been submitted to us by our listeners. And we just thought we've got to do them because they're quite funny. Now, the next two are... We just want to get to know you, as we said, but we think that some of these things show us the inside of what Stephen's thinking. So the strangest question, what was your last order on Amazon?
Oh my goodness. I think I bought a measuring tape.
A measuring tape?
Yeah.
We've had all sorts. It's going on the list.
Yeah. A measuring tape, there you go. That's how interesting I am.
I daren't ask what it was for.
Don't ask.
I know you're a WhatsApp user, Stephen.
Yes.
Do you know what the strangest WhatsApp group name you've got is?
There's one called Interlopers, which the band all share, so that's got to be strange, isn't it?
Well, we'll give that one a blast.
Yeah. Try that. Try that for size.
It's self-explanatory.
Exactly.
So, and the next one is Grammy winners.
Just want a Grammy going back.
I don't know. This album sounds like it could be going that way, to be honest.
Do you think so?
Oh, it's got nostalgia in loads, but it's also got the unique sound of a modern album where
I get
dynamics.
I get that. Yeah, a Grammy would be nice. Yeah, I would take that.
And we'd be there to support you all the way, Stephen. We really would.
Well, that's really nice. Thanks, Steve.
Well, thank you very much for joining me this morning. You've been an absolute pleasure.
It's been a pleasure to meet you and talk to you.
And yourself, and everyone can go and buy Interlopers now, and the album. Go and buy it now, and go and download Rainbow's End, because it's a fantastic track. We've been playing it for a number of weeks since it's been out, and what we're going to do is we're going to play it now for you.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
You're listening to Hermitage FM, the heart of your community. And this is Dave Hyde.